A brief history of Chinese in the Philippines. In 1521, Ferdinand Magellan traversed untamed oceans, braved sickness and starvation, and discovered the Philippines. He Christianized natives and died a bloody death at the hands of the savage king Lapu-Lapu. Well, that's how the history books write it. The truth is that there were Chinese living in the Philippines at least 500 years before Magellan. When the conquistadors came from Mexico, Chinese were used as brokers, craftsmen, and basically built the colonial infrastructure for Spain. With Mexico, the Philippines connected Europe and East Asia, which meant the potential for trade, barter, and wealth. Chinese came over en masse, and by the 18th century they outnumbered the Spanish 4-1. Some assimilated, married locals, produced mestizo children, and converted to Christianity. But many resisted and persisted being Chinese. Spain saw them as a threat and blocked immigration, and carried out massacres, killing over 30,000 by the end of the 17th century. When the United States won the Philippines in the Spanish-American War, they introduced the Chinese Exclusion Act, suspending Chinese immigration to the Philippines. When the Philippines gained autonomy in 1935, they passed citizenship laws that stated that because the Chinese were an alien population, they weren't granted citizenship and weren't really persons under the law. This only cemented stereotypes of Chinese as merchants and businessmen because there wasn't much else you could do. Being anti-Chinese was a constant theme of politics. The Chinese-dominated food-grain industry was nationalized in the name of the true Philippine people.
In the presidential election campaign, the central issue is Filipino nationalism.
In 1953, Ramon Magsaysay won the presidency in a landslide on the platform of Filipinization, promising to wrest the retail sector from the hands of the Chinese. In 1975, President Ferdinand Marcos followed Richard Nixon's lead and made formal overtures to the People's Republic of China. Marcos wanted to look good for Mao and allowed 60% of the Chinese population to get citizenship within 5 years. To this day, Chinese still control the Philippine economy, and since Marcos was ousted, are targets of kidnap for ransom syndicates often run by corrupt police officers. There's a widespread belief that if you're Chinese, you're already too wealthy for your own good. And that's been a brief history of Chinese in the Philippines.